Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Look Forward. I'm your host, Jay. I'm here with my co-host, Brad.
It is once again Labor Day here in the United States that I am stuck working because the tyrannical head of this podcast network has not allowed us to unionize and demand that we get certain holidays known for unionization off.
Hilarious.
So that's where we're at right now.
Yeah, I think you should worry less about holidays and worry about getting consistently paid. Okay,
Also a concern.
That kind of money. Donate to the show. All you people worried about Kamala Harris's tax plan that have $100 million in the bank. Donate so Brad can form a union and I can try to crush it.
That's right. Ever since Jay moved to Mexico, that damn conversion rate's really killing me here.
Dude, I only pay you guys in pesos. Like, sorry,
right.
That sounds like a you problem, not a me problem. Like they won't accept this. They do down here. It's great. That's awesome. All right, so there is plenty to talk about this week. It's a pretty goofball week, and I think
it's a lighter week after the DNC. Lot of build up. I'm happy to have a little bit of like a release valve sort of week just to kind of breathe for a second and just laugh at the buffoonery that's going on in one specific presidential campaign. You'll never guess which one it is.
Right. The only problem, as I've often stated on this show, is anytime you have a lull of a week, that means the next week is a goddamn disaster. So,
well, it's next week, right?
Oh, I'm aware, buddy. So you and I are going to have to. We're going live, baby. Like we're going live in this debate. This is going to be awesome. So we normally record on Monday nights. We will be recording on Tuesday night next week because holy shit, we are going to want to have a live episode surrounding this debate. Finally, a debate that is going to be worth our time, I think. So more details about that coming out across the week. We'll make sure we do that. Should be a lot of fun. I can't imagine it won't be. It's going to be insane, but I cannot imagine it won't be at least fun.
It is going to be exciting because like when we did the last one live, you and I didn't walk out of that thinking that like Joe Biden had like a catastrophic performance. And then it was like the next day was like walking in, like Donald Glover walking into the apartment with the pizzas for us. So we're just like, what? Like, where did this come from?
I mean, in fairness, we did not think it was a good performance, by the way. We weren't like
Correct,
delusional. Yeah. Like, oh, I fucking nailed it. It was like, no, this is not good. You sound old as fuck. But the difference, I think, between us and many people were that we were not just listening to how Joe Biden sounded, but what Joe Biden was actually saying versus how Donald Trump sounded, which was very like coherent and, where you sounded
old and tired.
And Donald Trump, what he was saying out of his mouth was insane things. And you're like,
yes.
Context matters a hell of a lot more than just the delivery. Not that the delivery does not matter, right? That was always my stance, and I think I can speak for you as well. But we're going to talk about context of the things that you say because we are now in the oh my god, I think I'm losing. Let me throw anything at the wall to see if it sticks. Part of the campaign, and that's not from the Kamala Harris campaign. That is from the other guy. But we will get to it. Holy shit. It is entertaining. Is that the right word? Some of it made me mad this week, but this is pretty nice.
I'm sure if you, much like a exciting sports game between two teams that you don't have a rooting interest in, like if you weren't impacted by, the potential results, yeah, I'm sure it's entertaining as hell. But, since we have skin in the game, it's not as much fun.
Yeah, it's like, oh my god, what are we doing, guys? Please stop fucking around. So yeah, let's get right into it though. So the interview that Kamala Harris and Tim Walz did with Politico with Dana Bash happened this past week. None of it is really that important.
With CNN, yeah, like basically.
I thought it was Politico. I'm sorry.
No. Politico had a shitty headline as a result from that interview, but the interview was with CNN and Dana Bash, because the mainstream media had been getting on their case that in the whole month that the campaign's been going, they haven't sat down to do like a big national interview. And it's like, guys, like we've had other shit to do that we've had to, kind of knock out in quick fashion here. So finally, Harris and Walz did a sit down interview, and it was fine. I mean, like it was 19 minutes long. You got the kind of questions that you would expect to get. There wasn't anything earth shattering. I mean, probably the biggest, piece of news that came from it was the fact that Kamala Harris said that she was open and would probably seek to have a Republican in her cabinet, which shouldn't really come as a surprise. I mean, that's kind of standard operating procedure from, in the history of the United States up until Trump became president. And then that was a norm that he did away with. And to be fair, Biden did the same.
Fuck you. I get it.
Right. And look, I got an easy one for you. Adam Kinzinger, Department of Veteran Affairs. Boom. There you go.
Yeah. That's not bad. That's not bad. That seems like a pretty simple one. It works because he's not an insane person. 2, I think he's like a legitimately like competent guy. 3, it would piss Republicans off because it's like you picked one, but we didn't like that one. It's like, well,
we wanted you to pick a crazy one. Like,
I'm come on. That, like, no, we're trying to do shit over here. That's not bad. That's not bad. Vet affairs. That's not bad. Look, that job, however, really needs to be taken seriously because veteran affairs. And
I think he would. I mean, his whole fucking thing is, I served and I like the military a lot. So, yeah, I think that he would do. He would probably do pretty well in that. Yeah,
I'm not mad.
But the other thing that was the most kind of parroted about moment of the interview is when Dana Bash asks Harris a question about Donald Trump's questioning her blackness, as we talked about several weeks ago when he decided in his infinite wisdom to ask, is Kamala Harris really black, in front of an entire convention full of black journalists, which did not go well for him.
It did not. So this is, again, I'm not sure you get this response in previous Democratic campaigns. Her response was perfect. Let me see because they have the quote here, which was fucking bananas, by the way. So Dana Bash says, I want to ask you about your opponent. I'm sorry. Where's the fucking actual line? Yeah, just, people might be surprised to hear you never interacted with him, yada, yada, yada. He suggested that you happened to turn black recently for political purposes, questioning at a core part of your identity. She responds, same old tired playbook. Next question, please.
Yeah. And then what's not written in this article is that after she gave that answer, Dana Bash was like, that's it? Yeah. And Harris is like, that's it. Next question.
Yeah.
Look, literally Dana Bash casting the line for the soundbite that she wanted to have run after the interview of Kamala Harris talking shit on Donald Trump. And Kamala Harris, to her credit, and she's been this way throughout the beginning of this campaign, it's like, yeah, I'm talking about the issues. Like, I'm not getting down and dirty into personal bullshit. It doesn't matter.
Right. And look, I'll give a different perspective on that. It is not the job of black people to justify their blackness to white people. Ever. Mm-hmm. Ever. Oh, when you hear people, I'm blacker than you. No, you're not. I don't give a fuck what you do. Normally when people say that, it's based on a weird racism thing of like, I listen to rap music. That doesn't equal black. It's just a type of music, right? So her not responding or giving it any air, one, politically is brilliant, right? Oh, do you want a soundbite? So you guys could, CNN and all these guys could run this shit for a week and make all these, crank up a panel of 24 people, 12 black, 12 white, battle royale, and they talk about it? No, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, the most disappointed person that he didn't get to weigh in on a Kamala Harris answer about this was Van Jones. Van Jones was like fucking salivating at the bit to be.
He was probably crying just as oh god, like dude, relax. My favorite thing is Joy-Ann Reid playing a clip of Van Jones recently crying or something, and this just cuts back to her. She's like, "Why is that dude always crying? Like, brother, what's going on? Like, you all right? Like, what the fuck is happening over there? He's a weird dude. But this is a smart move, right? Politically, it's very smart because, again, you don't give it any oxygen because it doesn't deserve any oxygen. From a black person perspective, this is a perfect go fuck yourself without ever having to like get down in the dirt over it, right? You just be like, yeah, all right, whatever. Fucking next question. This is bullshit. Like, and she's right. It's the same old tired playbook. You just run in birtherism again, dude. You don't even have any new shit.
And that's the thing. Like she knows, and it's obvious that the statement that he made itself is so ridiculous that like it's like she just needs to go there like Exhibit A. Like, I rest my case. Like,
right. Like the Will Smith meme. Like,
what? Yeah. What do I need to say about this? Like,
right.
It's right there on the table.
Right. Like, check the transcript, motherfucker. I've been black my whole life. Like, what are we talking about? For political purposes? In the 1980s? Like, yo, she was at Howard in the 1980s. Like, did she know she was going to be vice president and then potentially president back then? Was she a fucking, like, Kreskin the magician? What are you talking about? Like, it's on its face, it doesn't make sense. The only people who are questioning it are people who are, one, not going to vote for her. Right? They were not going to vote for her anyway. Two, white racist, overlapping circles, right? And three, black conservatives who either are not going to vote at all or not going to vote for her, or people who are just like weird, like racial purists that these people, you know, these are the Dr. Umars and all those other fucking wackadoodle people who are on the far extremes of society who somehow have a calling or a fan base on social media. Those people don't matter in real adult conversations. They're jesters. They're whores for clout, right? So they don't really matter in these kind of conversations, and they should be ignored, right? Like this idea of accusations that come without any level of facts should be dismissed with the same amount of facts. Oh, you're just making shit up? Cool. I'm just dismissing this shit. Get the fuck out of here. So yeah, I love this.
Dismiss it the same way that 12-year-old dismissed Mike Lindell's bullshit at the DNC.
Yeah. Oh, so it's trust me, bro?
Your source is trust me? Trust me, bro? Like, okay. I got you.
A 12-year-old fucking windmill dunked on you in front of everyone. It was amazing. So, yeah, no, I love it. And that's exactly the amount of attention it deserved. And look, she killed it. She deaded that shit. Nobody is talking about that conversation anymore. Again, I'm sure there are nutcases on social media talking about it, but they don't matter because they're not going to vote for her anyway. There's nothing she can do to court their vote. It's irrelevant. So leave that to the fringes. This is perfect. By the way, Obama should have done the same thing. Like, that fever pitch got really loud, and again, that to me is a generational thing. Well, I'm going to beat this down with facts and reason. No, it's not based in facts and reason. The second you showed it, they were like, oh, it's not in the long form or whatever. Oh, here's the long form. Oh, it's not fucking the short form. It doesn't matter because they know it's bullshit. So they're just looking to move the goalpost. Like it's irrelevant. So, Oh, really? I wasn't born in the United States? Suck my dick. Next question. Like, okay, cool, bro. Like, then I wasn't. Good. If that's in your headcanon, then I wasn't. And guess what? For all the people who made a big deal about that, nobody even says that shit anymore. You notice that? Nobody said, "Oh, I hated him as president." Blah 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 blah. But they don't say the shit.
Oh, I'm sure if you go onto 4chan or 8chan, you'll find people that still call him like, right. like our only Kenyan president or something stupid,
something
like
dumb like that. But again, these are like as much as it was in the mainstream of republicanism, like people in the Senate, like, I mean, I don't know, right? They were like pretending to be dumb. None of them say that shit because they didn't believe it. So if you give it oxygen, you only make that fire bigger. If you dead that shit, then people go, I don't want to be associated with the fucking psychos who are saying this, and so they stop saying it. That's it.
And that is the bottom line, is that I mean, of the multitude of reasons why normies didn't vote for Hillary Clinton, I would imagine that at least some of it centered around like all of the fucking constant talk about 30,000 emails and Benghazi this and this, that, or the other thing. So when Kamala Harris like sits there and focuses on the issues that impact people's daily lives, like that's going to speak a hell of a lot more to the voters, especially when her opponent is out here talking about insanity all over the place, because he keeps doing media that's not like that caters to his dumb whims, which weirdly is a mistake for him. Like, I know he would get tougher questions if he were to go on like a CNN or an MSNBC, and he would look stupid for very different reasons. But man, like, Trump probably should stop going on enabling media interviews, because he keeps getting led and allowed to say the dumbest stuff in the entire world.
Look, I love it. Keep going. Keep going. And I'm going to ask you a question that I've been thinking about the last couple of days, and I'm very interested to know your thoughts on it. Here's my question to you, Brad. Prior to 2016, or like going into the 2016 race, right? Before the 30,000 emails, before Benghazi, any of that. Mm-hmm. What is the legitimate reason that people hated Hillary Clinton?
The legitimate reason?
Yeah. What do you think? What do you think their legitimate? What would you think their thought of what a legitimate reason was to hate Hillary Clinton? Because people hated Hillary Clinton the second it was announced that she was running for president.
I feel like you're looking for a simple answer. I think it's more complicated than that. Because I think, honestly, one of the things that Hillary Clinton was that put off a lot of people is that she was someone who was outwardly ambitious. Like, obviously, you kind of have to be to run for president, but like she was very thirsty, as the kids say. You know what I mean? Like she was definitely a very ambitious person, and it's okay to be outwardly ambitious even in 2024 in America. If you're a man, but you still get penalized for that if you're a woman. I think that's
I think that's true. I think it's true. My thought is this: Hillary Clinton was a normal, run-of-the-mill Democrat as a senator, right? Like, not in the middle, right? She was more on the liberal side, but not really considered a liberal senator, but definitely in the the higher or the lefter echelon of the Senate. She didn't do anything particularly like groundbreaking. She didn't do anything particularly negative. So her actual political career, like as an elected official, is fine. There's just nothing. There's nothing about it that is like, whoa, this is a big standout. I think a lot of the hate for Hillary Clinton, I've been thinking about this. It's just like, besides like people not wanting the dynasty idea, right? Like, because that happened with Jeb too. He got fucking wrecked on that, which is funny because like kind of was like a pretty decent governor. Like, they were just like, fuck Jeb.
I mean, he was, but also like, yeah, I don't know if it's good to have three different people from the same family.
No, but that's what I'm saying. No, I'm not saying it's not. I'm not saying it's not a valid criticism. I think it's a totally valid criticism. But I'm saying like the dynasty thing is definitely a thing that hurt her and Jeb, right? Because like if they were from different families, I think their careers would have been very different, right? Like, I think Jeb probably could have been the guy, right? Like, he's got that same fucking like, hey, everybody, like kind of dorky, folksy thing that Republicans kind of like, even though he's like, I'm way richer than all of you, like, but he kind of balances it. And he's certainly smarter than his brother, right? So like, I think he could have probably won. But I think really when it comes down to it, I think people really hated the fact, I think it's so weird to me. I think people hated Hillary more for Bill cheating than Bill cheating. And the reason I say that is because Bill is still seen in more positive light than Hillary is. And we know that he literally got a blowjob in the White House. Right. And that's why he was impeached. He's more welcome back in the party. When Hillary Clinton pops up, people are like, get the fuck out of here, Hillary. Fuck you. I don't want to hear anything you have to say. Bill Clinton's like, hey, everybody, remember me? Blowjob man. Like, it's super weird to me, right? So I think fundamentally, and the reason why I bring this up is sexism is fucking wild, man. Like, I forget who the guy, he was like one of Trump's like religious advisors, and he had a black dude.
Oh, the Mark Burns, Jordan Klepper interview.
Yeah, and I know what you're he's just about. like, why are you like? Well, I kind of blame her for it. What? Like, it was her fault? Was she holding the dick? Like,
and he directly contrasts them because he basically, like, he let Mark Burns say, like, oh, it's Hillary Clinton's fault that Bill cheated on her.
Yeah.
And then he flipped it and be like, well, but Donald Trump is like a known serial adulterer. Like, well, everyone makes mistakes sometimes.
Everyone makes mistakes, right? Like within 2 minutes, he says it, like probably less. Right. So I've been thinking about that because we had mentioned last week, or you had mentioned last week, this idea that Kamala Harris is doing this thing of like, I'm a woman, but I'm not really mentioning it. I'm a black woman, but I'm not really mentioning it, right? Like, she's not leaning heavy into that, right? And I do think your point about like being ambitious as a woman hurts her, right? Like hurt Hillary, and because there was like reports that Kamala Harris, when all the Joe Biden dropout shit was happening, like her real skill set was to be like, I stand with Joe. She was like rock fucking solid. And then when he dropped out, she was like, me? You're going to choose me? Oh my God. I really, me? I can't believe it. Like, I would have never thought, right? Like, so she never showed like that she wanted it, but like kind of just sitting in the back, like, I kind of want it. Like, give me that role, son. So like, and she's been able to play that better. But I do really think that if people are really honest, their hate for Hillary Clinton doesn't really make sense. Like, yes, you can not want a dynasty. I didn't want a dynasty. I don't hate Jeb Bush. Like, I'm just like, I don't want that person to be president. People hate Hillary Clinton. And you can go, well, they hate her because of Benghazi. Excuse me. The right does not hate Hillary Clinton because of Benghazi. Yeah. Okay? They absolutely don't. Quote unquote, getting 4 soldiers killed is enough to hate her, but you guys are George W. Bush supporters? That doesn't make any sense, right? So it's not that. The left certainly doesn't hate her because of that, right? Oh, well, she's what? The 30,000 emails? Again, the left doesn't hate her for that. So what is it? Like, because you see hate on both sides. The right's been lying about her and Bill Clinton killing people and all this other shit and everything else, right? So that's all fictional insanity. But I often wonder, like, what is the left's real hate for her? She got a lot of money during speeches. Yeah, okay. They pay people for doing speeches.
It's what every ex-politician fucking does. Like,
I'm sorry, guys. Like, that's not a good reason. Now, does that mean that I think she should be president now or whatever? No. But what I'm saying is, take a fucking mirror up to yourself and go, what is the reason not that I didn't want this person to be president. People have like a vitriolic response to her, which to me doesn't really match. Like, well, she's really lame. Again, okay. Like why does that get to the level and sometimes above the level of a guy who got 4,000 American soldiers killed and displaced 1 million Iraqis? Like, it's very weird to me. And I think fundamentally, people really somehow blamed her and got mad at her for bullshit. Well, why did she stay with them? Look, dude, I'm not in their marriage. Is it a marriage of convenience? They're fucking business partners type of shit? Maybe. Or maybe she was like, you know what? This guy's been fucking women for fucking years on the side. And that's just the shit she's gotten used to. Maybe she got a little shit on the side. I don't know. But it's just, to me, it's really weird. Right? Like, as I think about it, and that's not some sort of like, I love Hillary, I'm with her type of shit. Like, it's not that. I just like to often put a mirror up to myself and go, does this make sense? And to me, the level of vitriol towards Hillary Clinton doesn't really make any sense. It just doesn't. Yeah. Doesn't mean you have to support her, but it doesn't really make any sense to me.
And I think some of the like left-wing hate for her just becomes because, of course, she ran against Obama. And then she ran against Bernie. So like,
and I think it has more to do with running against Bernie. I honestly,
I think people who were looked at as like darlings, and also too, like, going into 2016, like, she was like the heir apparent, and nobody likes the fucking, no one likes to feel like it's just being handed to the next person in life.
I agree with that.
Like they want to feel like the primary means something, and they want to feel like that, that there's a legit chance that somebody else might make it in or something. So I guess I understand some of that as well. You know what I mean? Like, I understand some of that pushback.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. I'm saying going into that race. I'm not saying once you're in that race, right? Like,
once the race started.
Yeah.
Going into the race, it would have been the emails and Benghazi, which are both just Republican bullshit.
Right. Like, but that's what I'm saying. Like it got a little dirty. I'll admit, it got a little dirty between her and Obama. in their primary, right? Like it did. But again, like, hey guys, what happened when Obama became president? What happened to Hillary? Like, do you guys remember? Like, did he give her a job?
Would you like literally like the second most important position in my cabinet? Oh, you would. Sure. Great.
Right. Like, I can't be mad. I can't be more angry at a person than the guy that I'm like proxy angry for, who's like, no, you can be in my cabinet, dog. Like what are you talking about? Like, you going around the world being my number one fucking diplomat. So like clearly they realize like, yeah, it's politics, and like, all right, we're gonna go at it a little hard because like, motherfucker, I think I should deserve it. And Obama's like, it's 2008. Guess what's happening right now? So like, always bet on black, right? So
I'm gonna say like it doesn't. It's not every day that you can come in after a uniquely bad Republican president, and so we can make some history here. Turns out it happens more frequently, I guess, than you may think.
Yeah, like I guess I guess the only progress we're ever getting is like we got to just have disaster Republicans. Like, you know what? East Asian man president sounds like a great idea. Let's fucking go, baby.
God, if Trump does lose and he finally either decides that he's not going to run again, or the party finally kicks his ass to the curb, I really do wonder who would be their standard bearer.
I honestly don't. I don't know. Yeah. I don't think they know, which is the weird thing.
Yet. Yeah, not yet.
But it's like Gavin Newsom seems like a person who's going to be like down the line at some point is going to be a big name nationally. I don't see anyone like that who I think, oh yeah, no, they're ready to fucking carry the torch. Yeah. It ain't JD Vance. Like if they don't win this time, JD Vance.
No, it's certainly not. It's not Ron DeSantis.
It's not Ron anymore. No. So it is interesting. Like I don't know, Gabby Tulser or like I don't know.
Gabby Tulser, the famous new Republican politician. Gabby Tulser.
She has a mustache on. I'm a different person. No, I don't eat fingernails. I was not in a cult. Yes. So yeah, that was just a curious thing I was thinking about. Like, I don't know, man. It doesn't rise to the level of vitriol. Like it just doesn't rise to it. It doesn't. Yeah, it's like, I don't know, man. There are people you can really hate in politics. Like, yeah, you could go, I don't really like Hillary Clinton, like, and I don't like her politics. That's all fine. That's fine.
But, I mean, but again, that irrational hatred for her, that's the Fox News machine. Like she was arguably the first major victim of
100%.
The Fox Newsification of the GOP.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true.
Because even if you don't watch Fox, especially back then, before social media blew up and stuff like that, especially back then, even if you don't watch Fox, that narrative still crept out into
other
the discourse,
into real news organizations. Right. No, absolutely did. All right, let's get back into it. As I wrote, local fool admits to crimes. Trump tells Fox News he had, quote, every right to meddle with the 2020 election. And that noise that you're hearing in the background is Republican lawyers screaming, shut up, shut up, shut up. What are you doing, bro? Please.
This is what I'm talking about, because he said this shit on Mark Levin's show, or Mark Levin's show, however you say his last name.
I think he says Levin. That guy sucks.
Okay, whatever. He sucks ass. But like, again, this is why don't let him go on these shows where he can just get comfortable and start riffing.
Yeah.
Like you got to keep him tight, and keep my message. And I know he doesn't like to do that because he sounds like he just downed a couple Xanaxes whenever he has to read off the teleprompter. Mm-hmm. But I feel like for his own safety, it's in your best interest to shut him the fuck up, because then he just starts saying like, yeah, I did the crime. Who cares? I'm allowed to do it.
Yeah, he says, quote, it's so crazy that my poll numbers go up. Whoever heard you get indicted for interfering with a presidential election where you have every right to do it? You get indicted, your poll numbers go up. It's such nonsense. Okay, examining what he says is just absolutely crazy, but he thinks because Joe Q Public likes a thing, that somehow makes it legal. That somehow.
And by the way, not that, like, his poll numbers didn't go up. They didn't go up at all. I mean, I don't know what the fuck he's honestly talking about. Like when those indictments came out for the Georgia case and for
it hurt him. It actually
that hurt him. Yeah, hurt him big time. Even in the Republican Party, like even in that like fucking ironclad 93% or whatever the fuck his poll numbers are at with Republicans, it hurt him there too. Like his numbers went down. I mean, momentarily they came back, but yeah, like it absolutely hurt him. Because who the fuck wants the guy running for president to be a literally indicted criminal?
About 70 million Americans,
I guess.
So yeah, he says, look, he had every right to interfere in that election. Yeah, bro, they're going to. I believe the internet parlance is, bro, they fitting to drag you over this. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, they're going to use these quotes in the courtroom, man. Like, you're admitting to interfering. You're literally admitting to it. And again, I cannot state this enough. When he's talking about his poll numbers, even though that is objectively a false statement, it gives you an insight into his sort of populist mindset, which is if my fans, aka fanatics, like this thing, then it is okay. But that's not how the law works. And by the way, people being ignorant of how the law works is not a surprise. Like regular Americans not understanding, like, you know, the intricate details of voter interference and things like that. Yeah, okay, that makes sense that they wouldn't know. So them cheering about it, or you thinking they like it and your poll numbers are supposedly going up or what have you, is irrelevant to the crime. So citing that and going, hey, it's the darndest thing, they really like it. Yeah, bro, if you stabbed a guy on TV and they were just like, yeah, that doesn't mean that you're allowed to do that. Like, that doesn't make it somehow legal. I mean, that's a crazy thought.
This is why typically when celebrities find themselves embroiled in legal matters, when they're asked about it, the typical response is, yeah, I can't really talk about that. Like, it's still, you know, we're still kind of, you know, litigating through this and stuff like that. Like, because if you talk about it, you might say something that can incriminate yourself, which is a really bad idea to fucking do that. Now, the problem is because, you know, fucking Donald Trump is treated with kid gloves in literally every aspect of American life.
Yeah.
Either this is somehow going to be ignored in context of an actual trial, or his defense against these charges, assuming he has to even face them, you know, assuming he doesn't win the election and can't just make them go away, is probably going to be somewhere along the lines of, hey, I was the president and I'm allowed to do this, and the Supreme Court said I could do it, so therefore I'm allowed to do whatever I want. So, like, him saying this is probably not actually that big of a deal in terms of actually having consequences for him. But it is kind of crazy that he's just like, and this also isn't new. I mean, this is the guy who fucking talks about that phone call that we've all heard the audio of, where he's asking for 11,470 votes, or how, like, whatever the exact number is that he needs to beat Joe Biden. Like, he's literally asking for that. And he just, and when he's asked about that, he's like, yeah, it was a perfect phone call. I don't know why I did everything right, and they indicted me. Like, that's,
they indicted me.
my favorite fucking soundbite of his.
God, he's just worthless. So he's now, you know, to your point, he is now on the, I'm getting comfortable out here, baby. Like, I'm just saying whatever. Like, let me just, let Trump be Trump, right? Corey Lewandowski is back on the campaign, which is great because, you know, he's a fucking psycho. So this will work out great.
Oh, he's been making the rounds on all the on all the news programs. He's got Ari Melber out here threatening to sue him for defamation. Yeah. He's getting fact checked on abortion claims that he's making by Fox News hosts. Like that. That's where Corey Lewandowski's at right now. He's literally getting fact checked by Fox News. Hey, this thing you're saying about abortion, this very extreme thing you're saying, is factually incorrect. We're not trying to lose another $750 million. Thank you.
Yeah, nah, B. Like, they got a whole ass liberal on the 5. She's on there every day, just dunking on them.
Yeah, she fucking rules.
Yeah, no, she's awesome. She's like a perfect example of what a liberal in those kind of fights should be, which is unemotional. I'm sorry. Are these the facts you're looking for? And then she just fucking levels them. And then they're just like, we're really mad. She's like, here's a cape. Put it on and get super mad. Who gives a fuck? These are the facts. Dude, I love her. She's so good. She's super, super good. But so he's out there, right? And look, I bring up Corey Lewandowski because he actually wrote a book called Let Trump Be Trump, right? Of course, because Republicans are lame and they have no new ideas. He just stole that from West Wing, man. That's a let Bartlett be Bartlett. Like, come on, man. Don't do that. Aaron Sorkin came up with that. How dare you? Like, get the fuck. He's a much better writer than you, I assure you. You can't. Your guy can barely even walk and talk. Knock it off. So Trump goes off script on a couple of things, which is real bad. So he decides that he was being interviewed, and he says, like, listen, they're asking him about IVF, and he's like, look, it's not a big deal. We're just going to pay for it. For all Americans who need it, we're just going to pay for it. I'm sorry, what? We're not going to pay for it. Like, I'm paraphrasing, but this is his idea. If the government isn't going to pay for it, right? So again, he just spitballed, right? He's just saying whatever the fuck. Oh, well, we're going to pay for it. But if the government won't pay for it, then we will force the insurance companies to pay for it, to cover it. Now, listen, IVF, in vitro fertilization, is very expensive. I don't know if people know this. My wife and I went through IVF, so I know with very excruciating financial details, it is very, very expensive. Now, we had a very, very good insurance that did cover it. It's about $30,000 per round to try to get this done.
Yeah, that might not even be guaranteed.
It's not guaranteed.
And no matter how good your insurance is, I'm sure you were still on the hook for about 20% of that $30,000.
Oh, dude, no, we paid quite a lot of money, right? Because there's other parts of it that are not covered, like the actual processes, but there's like a lot of like, oh, do you want to freeze the eggs and blah 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 blah, all of that shit.
Yeah, it's all this private insurance that everyone fucking goes the hilt for to defend. Actually, kind of sucks in general when it comes to this kind of shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
As anyone who's literally had a baby and stayed in a U.S. hospital can attest to.
Yeah, when you leave it.
Huh? Yeah, insurance has got you. Don't worry. They got you for 80%. 20% of a fuck ton of money is still a lot of money.
Yeah. And by the way, you don't have to pay that bill. I'm just saying, you don't have to pay that bill. What are they gonna do? They gonna put the kid back? Knock it off. You just look. That's a birth and dash. Okay, like you just have that kid and you get out. You get the hell out of there. He says
the views of Jay do not reflect the views of the Look For Political podcast.
No,
don't get yourself sent to collections over a fucking birth and dash.
No.
Birth and bounce. A birth and bounce.
Birth and bounce. That's good. That's good. No, that's what. Look, that goes on a T-shirt, right? Like just like a couple holding a new baby, like running out of a hospital. You know? Yeah, all right. Fuck insurance. Birth and bounce. Don't steal my ideas. So yeah, look.
TM.
Yeah. Trademark.
If you say that legally,
that's how it works. So the idea is they're going to pay for IVF, right? Or they're going to demand that insurance companies pay for this. I thought when we make insurance companies pay for things, medical procedures, which by the way, I thought that was bad, right? Because you guys hate Obamacare. But I also thought it was equally bad if the government pays for things for a certain group of people that all other people are not benefiting from. Like all the other people who either do not want kids or have kids naturally. All of those people are chipping in through taxes to potentially pay for this government-paid IVF. I don't know. I've heard. I think it's social.
I think it's important to point out here that, for the record, me and Jay are not against this, and I'm using this term very loosely, plan of Donald Trump's that he wants 100%. The government to somehow, absolutely, let's get our government-funded IVF on. But he said this shit, and the reporter didn't ask the most important follow-up question, which is how.
Yeah.
How do you plan on doing that, Donald Trump? Because basically, if he were serious, and he's not, let's not even know why the fuck we're talking about this, but if he were serious, you would either have to do it through legislation, which Republicans certainly are not going to fucking vote for free IVF for everybody.
Yeah, we'll talk about.
Yeah, or you'd have to somehow do it through like an executive order, but I'm pretty sure you get sued into next fucking century by the medical insurance industry, and that would fall that would collapse because Obamacare doesn't specifically call shit like this out. Like I'm pretty sure that the 6-3 Supreme Court would be able to poke holes into whatever agreement they wanted to knock that shit down. So what the fuck are you talking about? Like to your point that you said earlier, you are just flailing, and this is what happens when you don't fucking actually understand the things that you're talking about, because he knows that Republicans are getting killed on abortion, and he also knows that Democrats have very skillfully tied in IVF to the abortion issue. Mm-hmm. And made it look like Republicans are against in vitro fertilization, which Republicans have done nothing to help, considering that there was a bill that was up in Congress a couple months ago that would protect in vitro fertilization access in the states that Republicans knocked down themselves. Yeah. So Democrats have done a great job tying this to Republicans. And Trump's like, man, they sure are killing us on IVF. What can I do to change the narrative there? And he just goes completely 180 the other direction, and he's just saying shit. He's just saying shit.
And by the way, yes, he is just saying shit. Two things. Bro, your vice presidential pick was one of the senators who voted that down a couple of months ago. Correct. He's on the fucking list of no votes, right? If that reporter was worth their fucking salt, that is immediately what she would have said. Republicans just voted down a bill protecting IVF in the states. So how would you get this done? Your vice presidential candidate also was one of those senators. So what do you think about that? Forcing him to like shit on JD Vance publicly again, which sounds great, right? And yeah, this is a deeply unserious thing. And what bothers me is I was reading comments, which I should never do to protect my own brain. Was reading comments, and there's Republicans are like, this is a great idea. This is a great idea. And I'm like, let me understand this. You get the idea of us collectively coming together to make sure that people have more babies through this process, which of course you and I are both saying no one opposes this who's not a lunatic, right? Like there's like a fringe, like 10% complete nutters who are like, I'm against it because of the frozen embryos, right? Those people are lunatics. They deserve to be ignored, right? Except the Republican Party is like totally listening to them, which is insane, right? So you've got those people, right? The vast majority of the country is like, yeah, we support IVF, of course. And you're just jumping on this and you're giving people hope where there isn't any. And this is what made it for me go, well, this is kind of a fraudulent thing to promise, right? This is like total bullshit. I went from that to immediate anger because I remember going through that and I remember how fucking hard it was and how expensive it was and just emotionally taxing it was. And for somebody to play that and just play it as politics just because, oh shit, I'm losing to women because my VP is a scumbag piece of shit and so am I, and women hate our guts. So let me just throw this fucking apple out there and see if these dumb broads will take it. That's offensive. It's offensive. And to me, and we're going to talk about the marijuana statements that he makes. We're talking about the gender care or gender transition care that he makes comments about those too. The media is unbelievably off its fucking game when it comes to this guy. Call him out. How is this not being seen as, dude, it's not okay to do a false promise to people trying to have kids. I know your VP nominee is a pro-natalist fucking weirdo, but you don't actually believe this shit. And by the way, I don't think Trump is actually anti-IVF. I don't think Trump is pro-IVF. I think Trump doesn't give a fuck about IVF, right? He doesn't care. And so what he's doing is he's playing fucking politics with this and promising people who need help this lifeline that ain't gonna fucking be there. By the way, MAGA supporters keeps doing that to you.
What is he actually promising? Like if you have more than fucking 3 neurons in your brain that rubs together, and you heard this, like my thought is your initial reaction would be, what the fuck is he talking about? You know what I mean? Because
No,
again,
dude,
like he's just saying shit.
no. There are definitely Trump supporters who are going through this shit who are like,
oh, Trump supporters. Oh,
yeah. No, I'm not talking about regular
okay.
people. I'm talking about idiots.
I thought you were talking about like persuadable voters that are here.
No.
Like, oh, this is interesting.
No, not people whose brains are functioning fine.
Also, you have a couple neurons clicking off in there to be like, all right.
Well, we got 70. It's so funny. We're like, we need to be more respectful to people and not trick them. They're like, 70 million people in America are dumb as fuck, right? Yeah, I know, but like, I recognize the irony in this statement. I'm not above it. I'm quite below it actually. But so, like, but my thought is, you are promising those people, the people who are your supporters. You're literally saying, here's a lifeline that's coming. And so maybe some people wait and go, well, when Trump gets in, then we can try or whatever, right? Let's stop worrying about saving money for it, because people say, like, if you don't have the insurance, dude, and you're like, we got one shot at this. We need to spend, it's anywhere between like $15,000 to $30,000. What if you've been saving your money because you and your spouse want to have a kid? And you're like, this is the thing that we are saving. We're not going to buy a house right now. We got an apartment. It's enough when we get the baby, whatever. But we're saving that money to try to have this kid, right? This is a thing that is a huge deal for you. It was for my wife and I. It was a huge deal, right? It's a major part of changing your life. And here you're a Trump supporter, and he goes, "Don't worry, that lifeline's coming." And he's holding his hand out for you, and you're like, "All right, we don't have to worry about savings. We can put that money away for something else or whatever else." And then he just pulls that shit back. He doesn't give a fuck about you. I don't understand why you fall for it. I don't get it.
I would be very curious to know, and I suppose this could be identified. I'm curious to know how much Fox News ran with this story, because again, like he didn't say this at like a campaign rally. Like he made like an off the cuff quote in a backstage interview that made, I think, on a local TV interview, that made the rounds. So I'd be curious if Fox is running with it, because Fox is smart enough to know that this is bullshit. I also know.
I mean, here's an article: Trump pledges universal coverage for IVF treatment because we want more babies. So I mean,
is that from Fox?
That's from Fox.
Interesting.
No, the other
thing is, like,
this is foxnews.com. People don't necessarily read. I'll grant you. So I don't know how much they're doing like on television, but yeah, no, they're talking about it.
The other thing is, like, it would not surprise me at all if you never hear him say anything about this the rest of the campaign. Ever. Like, not even mention it.
And by the way, if I'm Kamala Harris, I'm going to mention that shit.
Oh, of course you will. Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
And look,
I mean, it's going to get brought up in the debate. Like I guarantee you that the moderator is going to ask him the question, like, hey, you talked about this in this interview. How do you plan to implement that? And he's just going to say this, literally the same thing he said, where it's like, well, we'll make insurance companies do this. But again, like, how are you going to make insurance companies do this?
I don't know about legislation. Get the fuck out of here. We're the ideas people, baby. Come on now. But here's the thing. Kamala Harris should make a big deal of it. And I know what the trap will be. Well, I support paying for this. Do you support paying for this? Yeah. And look, you need to have an answer for that. I'm like, and here's how we're going to do it. And I would love to, I'm happy to give you the details of how we're going to do it. I want to hear how you're going to do it. You brought it up first, big boy. Come on. Tell me what DEI stands for, right? Like you make that guy Flailing look stupid, and then you go, now, let me tell you what we are going to do, right? We're going to, and by the way, I don't think the government has to pay for this, right? It'd be great, but I don't think he has to pay for it. I don't even think that insurance companies necessarily need to be on the hook, like the entire hook for it, right?
Because but you could, I mean, something feasible that you could do.
But you could say that they have to
get support,
like pay a percentage,
or you just cap out of pocket costs for the procedure.
Yeah, I think that's totally fine.
That's a very easy thing you could do to make that happen.
Right, and that would be a big deal, right? Like, you cap it at, let's say, $5,000 per round. I don't think it's a big procedure. It's a very expensive, very time consuming. It's multiple months procedure, right? It's really difficult. I don't think it's unfair to say, all right, we're going to cap it at $5,000 per round. And, let's say the government will cap it at $5,000 a round. You get 4 rounds, right? Like that's as far as we'll go, right? So we're on the hook for all of that up to 4 rounds. After that, you're on your own. I don't think that's unreal or unreasonable. So something like that, have that in your back pocket, right? Just have it in your back pocket. And basically use the same structure that you use for insulin, right? That you want to cap the cost of insulin for everybody at $35. Use that same structure. Like, we want to do this, and we're going to do it there. In the best way you can really fucking nail that asshole on is like, you know what, Don? Or Donnie. Call him Donnie. He would probably hate that. Like, you know what? You did have a good idea. But see, the difference between me and you is I'm not just going to say it. I'm going to do it. And that is the difference between her, the angle she can come from, and him. Because he's just saying shit. He's just saying shit. Like, I don't know. More babies. Like, who cares? He doesn't give a fuck.
But also she can pivot it into, hey, I'm not hyper focused on helping Americans with healthcare costs for this one procedure. Like, I'm going to be focused on helping it across the board by doing X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
So she can broaden out, because again, Republicans have no interest in actually making lives better and stuff like that. Again, like, this is from the same party that brought you, hey, we're going to repeal Obamacare. All right, what are you going to replace it with? The awesomest plan ever. Can we see the plan? Not until we repeal Obamacare.
Like, this feels. Hey, Lucy, I don't think I'm going to fall for this one.
It's a secret. We don't want to tell anybody yet.
Yeah. Oh, and look at this. See, this is the bullshit. Tom Cotton says, quote, he's open to Trump's IVF proposal. It's not a proposal.
Tom Cotton is.
But it's not a proposal, dude. It's not a proposal. It's not a proposal. He didn't fucking say anything.
But again, the same people that are just like, Obamacare is socialism are just like, well, if our guy proposes it, of course we're going to be on board for this shit. Come on.
Yeah. And by the way, they only support it because they're desperate to get women back, because they are losing. They're like, they are losing women.
We are fucking deficit hawks, fucking debt hawks. We're gonna burn down the national debt. Austerity, cuts across the board. This is fucking bullshit. Oh, Republicans president? Oh, let's just fucking throw $1.5 trillion of tax cuts for rich people. Come on. That's our boys. Let's fucking do it.
Yeah.
Again, deeply, deeply, deeply unserious people. You do not have to listen to a word that they say in good faith.
No, and I just want to read you a quick headline. Every Republican senator who voted against protecting IVF, full list. And it didn't take me long to get to Arkansas, Tom Cotton. So what? Oh, he's open to the proposal, yet he wouldn't protect.
I guess Walmart didn't want him to vote for protecting IVF. Shame on Walmart.
Yeah, they run his little ass. Fuck out of here.
Oh, that was Josh Hawley.
That's Josh Hawley.
You're confusing your mediocre white Midwestern senators.
I'm sorry. I was confusing little Hitler with Stretch Armstrong over there. Trump is asked about, or I don't even know if he was asked. He just fucking said that shit.
Before we get to marijuana, the other thing that Trump, the thing that precipitated the abortion comments is because Florida is voting Floridians are voting to enshrine abortion access into their state's constitution. Of course, Florida currently has a 6-week abortion ban. Thanks, Ron DeSantis. And again, Trump was trying to get nailed down, and he caused a bit of a kerfluffle in the Republican Party because they were asking him about this vote. And again, reminder, Trump is a Florida voter, so he's ostensibly going to be voting on these things himself. And he's like, 6 weeks is too short. I've always said this, we got to do better than 6 weeks. 6 weeks is too restrictive. So I don't agree with 6 weeks. And Republican media took that and ran with it to be like, oh my God, Trump is going to vote for the abortion amendment. And then Trump had to come out like a couple days later and be like, actually, I'm still going to vote for no because Democrats are killing babies after they're born or something.
I mean, that's happening everywhere.
Right.
Dude.
Again, Mr. 6-week ban, Mr. Leave it to the states, is totally going to vote for the 6-week ban, guys, to keep that in place, just so you know. So.
Yeah, just so we can get all the idea of like he would be totally against a national abortion ban. He supports a ban of 6 weeks in the state.
But again, he wants to tap dance on that, and Harris is going to fucking murder him with it at the debate to be like, hey, you publicly said you were going to vote to keep the 6-week ban in place. And he's be like, that's not what I said. I'm voting to not allow this thing to go to the Constitution. It's really, yeah, the end result of that is the 6-week ban stays in place. You fucking idiot.
Yeah.
So you're cool with a 6-week abortion ban, is what you're saying. You're literally going to vote for it.
Yes, when a lot of women don't even realize they're pregnant. But okay, bro. Okay. Again, I need you to say this into the mic clearly so that we can clip it the fuck out and they can run it into every fucking ad for the next couple of months and just beat you over the head with it. 99% of women hearing that go, motherfucker, what are you talking about? 6 weeks? Yeah. Most women do not know it's 6 weeks. Yeah, it's insane. Absolutely fucking insane. If I recall, I think at the 6-week mark is when you actually, when they do the test to find out whether you're pregnant during IVF, right? Like, so yeah. So, sorry, it was yesterday was the last day. I just found out today. Well, who's probably
most people literally don't go to their doctors until they're about
they miss a period, right? A woman misses her period and she goes, that's curious, and then unless you were planning, right? But if you were not planning, it's like, oh, that's curious, and all right, I'm gonna wait a couple days. All right.
I mean, I think for both of our attempts, the first 6 weeks I think was the first visit that we did for both. So yeah.
Makes sense. That's why by the way, make it 6 weeks, right? So when you get there, they're like, you're exactly 6 weeks pregnant. You're fucked.
And I'm sure, and again, I don't know the Florida law backwards and forwards. I'm pretty sure it's 6 weeks, and you also have to be like talked out of it first or something like that by like the fucking or whatever that bullshit is.
Yeah, you have to do a face
talk to people.
You have to do a FaceTime with Ron DeSantis. Like, hey,
could you imagine?
Oh.
I really got to tell you, I think that you should keep that baby. We need as many Florida voters as we can to vote for my son in 18 years when he runs for Florida governor, and I could really use your vote as well. And don't pay attention to my very weird white high water wading boots that I have on right now that I like to wear all the time. It's very strange.
Like, sir, it's not raining outside. Well, I'm just new boot goofing. Like that's what I do. I'd like to imagine that they
keep me safe while I'm jogging at night.
I like to think that the FaceTime call with Ron DeSantis, you have to, the law requires a woman to be in stirrups with a giant screen in front of you. And he's like, wow, looks like it's been 6 weeks. I'm like, oh, fuck you.
Yeah, Ron DeSantis is like 2 years older than you. Can you believe that?
Oh, God. Dude, what a weirdo. I'll never forget when his wife was like, he was a great man. He picked up my children from school. Bitch, they're your kids. Why are you saying that?
He did the bare minimum.
Like, wow, I picked my daughter from school today. Do I get to be governor now? What the fuck are you talking about? So let's talk about weed. A number of Florida conservatives have spoken out against Donald Trump after the former president supported legalizing recreational marijuana in the state. Quote from Trump, whether people like it or not, this will happen through the approval of the voters, so it should be done correctly. We need state legislature to responsibly create laws that prohibit the use of it in public spaces so we do not smell marijuana everywhere we go like we do in many of the Democrat-run cities. And Republicans are like,
made a great point.
Fuck up.
I mean, like I said, I don't fundamentally disagree with that. Him laying that out. He is right. It is going to happen eventually. It's. I mean, I don't know how many states we're up to now. I feel like it's a lot. Someone should tell him that most people nowadays kind of just use gummies. Like not a lot of us are out here fucking smoking shit.
Yeah, it's not anymore. Good for your cilia, guys. Like I don't know if you will know that. So it's weird, right? Like this is a weird thing. He's not wrong. But see, the problem is you're in a party of boring lame people who hate fun. And I'm sure that Trump is like, yeah, like if you want to smoke weed, go ahead, smoke weed. I don't give a fuck. Who cares? I'm not like, this is the thing. They think because he's a Republican, Republicans are like, well, he believes in all of our ideologies of like fucking stay straight, don't do drugs, blah, 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 blah. Like he doesn't drink because his brother had a real problem and his brother literally drank himself to death, right? But I don't think Trump gives a fuck. He had Trump vodka. He doesn't have some like anti-alcohol thing. He's just like, I don't drink and I don't think my kids should drink. And Don Jr.'s like, don't worry, Dad, I don't drink. Which is fine.
Yeah, we know how Don Jr.'s voting on the well, I guess he's not a Floridian, but if you were down there.
Oh, he's like, is there a
there's a couple other drugs I'd like to also put on the amendment if you don't mind.
Like, like, I don't know, recreational cocaine sounds pretty great to me. I got to get out of here. So like this idea that he cares about like republicanism at all, he doesn't. That's why he can flip on a dime. You would never hear a Mike Pence say shit like this. Not because Mike Pence is much better at like controlling himself, though he is, but he would never switch on a dime on these things because he fundamentally disagrees with them. Trump doesn't fundamentally disagree with anything as long as he gets power and he gets money. That's it. So, you guys like weed? Cool, I'll say I like weed. Why? Because young people who hate Trump and hate Republicans, and then Trump comes on and he's like, I like weed. And they're like, hey man, Trump's pretty cool, whatever. And it's just a reason to try to pull those people there. But what you're going to fucking do, you big dummies, because Republicans realize this. They're like, quote, Gilchrist GOP David Biddle says, quote, don't listen to Trump. Vote no on Amendment 3. We don't need recreational marijuana in Florida. It's been a disaster everywhere. They have it. It brings zero benefit to society. It increases crime. It increases homelessness. And it increases further drug use. It's bad for Florida. They recognize one thing that is very true. By the way, a lot of those things, complete bullshit. Complete.
I'm about to say, we're like in the year of Al Gore, 2024, we're still fucking on the fucking weed as a gateway drug kick. Like that's still a thing that's happening.
Yeah, you know what's a gateway drug? Heroin, cocaine. Those are gateway drugs. You start all the way in the gate. Nobody who wants to do heroin needs to be convinced by it. Okay, they just don't. Weed ain't it. But they recognize something else here, which they're not saying, which is if you start talking to people about how much you like weed legalization to happen, you're going to drive a bunch of people to the polls. And the chances are there's way more overlapping circles of the I'm voting for Kamala Harris and I want to be able to smoke weed and access to abortions than I want to smoke weed and I'm a super hardcore conservative. Like those circles are not exact. I mean, not that there aren't, people who smoke weed who aren't conservative. Of course there are, but it's not nearly as much. So the last thing you want to do is drive people to the polls on that one issue. You want people to stay the fuck home on that. So yeah,
I will also say though, the fact that he is so ideologically malleable is also quite dangerous. And people have talked about this, but he because his political opinions align with, as people have said, the last person to talk to him about a subject, essentially, it allows him to be bought, essentially. Like this is how special interests get their foot, and already are kind of getting their foot in the door. You're seeing it with Elon Musk and Tesla, where, it's like Republicans have been like, oh, we need to kill electric car subsidies. We need to kill electric car subsidies. Then Elon Musk is like, what if I give you a shitload of money? And Donald Trump's like, oh, are electric car subsidies so bad? Actually, maybe we should keep them around because it helps my good friend Elon Musk.
I mean, frankly, I wouldn't be surprised if he just did a cutout just for Elon, not even for everybody. He was just like, you know what, fuck it.
Of course, yeah.
Just for Tesla, fuck everyone else.
I mean, and we've seen it with TikTok as well. Again, not that I necessarily agree with the hard stance that Congress is taking against TikTok right now, but the fact that Donald Trump is being bankrolled heavily by a dude who has a huge stake in TikTok and has a vested interest in TikTok being accessible in the United States is not a coincidence as to when Donald Trump changed his tune on TikTok. Because remember, if you recall, Donald Trump was thinking about banning TikTok when he was in the White House. And then all of a sudden he's like, oh, actually, TikTok's great, actually. I think TikTok's amazing. And these fucking clowns over here just don't get it.
Yep.
And it's because he's getting a shitload of campaign money from one of the guys who was an early investor in TikTok and has, $1 billion of stake in the company, essentially.
Yeah. I mean, look, couple that with the dear oil executives, give me $1 billion and I'll deliver for you. Right? Like this guy has the scruples of a sewer rat. Like he really does.
Yeah, couple that with hey, Egypt, here's $10 billion that we're going to go ahead and give to Donald Trump. If Donald Trump gets in, pay close attention to whatever his policy on Egypt is, and you know how they're being treated.
Yep. And again, when people point these things out, they go, "Oh, you know, is this a conspiracy or whatever?" No, bro. Like these things are happening in daylight. Like they're
yeah. But I say it's not a conspiracy when you can say point A, point B. Like the thing about conspiracies is that they have a lot of like tangled webs that you have to weave together. We're literally just talking about, hey, here's the thing that happened, and it directly influenced this other thing that happened.
Like
holy shit.
Like, bro, they're writing about this shit on like CNN.
It's one bread string. Just one. Just one going from point to point.
Yeah. It's real fucking easy, actually. So lastly, Donald Trump was on a panel. I believe he's speaking to Moms of Liberty or Liberty Moms or whatever that fucking batshit crazy organization is. And he had a very interesting conversation, one-way conversation.
He did. This is how you know Donald Trump is extremely keyed in on the issues concerning the lives of everyday Americans. Right. I mean, I've never heard somebody talk with such factual accuracy about the topic that he's about to opine on for 25 seconds in this clip.
He really gets to the heart of the matter. Jesus Christ.
The transgender thing is incredible. Think of it. Your kid goes to school and comes home a few days later with an operation. The school decides what's going to happen with your child. And you know, many of these childs 15 years later say, what the hell happened? Who did this to me?
Okay, a couple of things. One,
holy shit.
Child's it's not a word. He's not using child apostrophe s. He's saying child as in plural for child. The word is children. You're an idiot. Two. Look, I moved out of the United States a little over a year ago. They doing sex changes in the schools now?
Well, so I have a child in public school.
Okay, I was like, is this a public school or a private?
Yeah, I have a child in public school, and he just went back, and I will confirm that upon going to his first day of classes, we did get the report back from the teacher that we said, hey, like we looked at your son and decided that he should still be a boy, so he will remain a boy.
That's pretty good. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Yeah,
the school decides.
Yeah,
to give your child.
And then I guess they do the operation there. Man, these school nurse offices must be getting like fucking really like getting a lot of taxpayer money thrown at them to have fucking operation suites built into now. Holy crap!
What kind of PPP loan scam are these schools? Look, lastly, I'll just say this: PapPap needs help. Okay, this is not okay. Like, we yelled and screamed as a country, get Joe Biden the fuck out of here. That old man's crazy. By the way, he's just like, he don't speak no good anymore. Okay. Like, sorry. He has a speech impediment that he can't keep under wraps. He's really tired. He's very, very old. I would happily agree with all of that. His brain still worked. Like, it still works. He's still the president. He's still doing good work. Meanwhile, Trump is like, I don't know, guys. They're doing sex changes in the classroom, right? Without your permission. Your kid comes home and you just accept it, I guess. And then 15 years later, the kid goes, hey, what the hell happened to me? I thought I was a girl. Well, it turns out you're a boy now. You're a boy now, Harry. And so I think the media really needs to go, I have a question. Bro, what the fuck are you talking about? And I think somebody
that question better be what the fuck.
I think somebody needs Kamala Harris. This one's for free. Rip his fucking head off at the debate over this. Like, yeah, dude. We're talking about Benghazi. Yeah. Anyway, you said that schools are doing sex changes in the classroom, like in the building without the parents' permission. I'd like you to cite, I don't know, one case that this has happened. I will pay the entire year's rent at Mar-a-Lago, the whole fucking shebang-a-bang, every day for a year if you can find one case of this happening. Just one. And by the way, you know what? I'll double it if you can find a family who has killed their child after it was born healthy outside of the womb, because that's apparently happening all over the place.
No, not a family, a doctor.
One
doctor
stabbing a baby. Yeah. Gaga, goo, gaga, kill that baby. Like, what are you talking about? So I'll double it. Whatever money you need to run Mar-a-Lago, I will double it. Find me a case of either one of those. Either one or both. Great. She should rip his fucking head off in the debate over this. What are you talking about, bro? What are you talking about? They're doing sex changes in the schools? In the schools? In the school, public schools? Bro, you're not even allowed to drink out of the water fountains because the water is contaminated, but they're doing surgeries? Come on, man. Meanwhile, in you know, like Republican held states, you're not even allowed to like say the word penis in a book. They'll ban it. But meanwhile, I guess in the liberal states, they're just cutting dicks off and titties off of little kids. They're just like, don't worry about it. We'll tell your mother in a letter. What are we talking about? But people go, no, this guy seems reasonable. He's nailing it. Kamala Harris.
Listening to Republicans talk about, especially like about gender issues and stuff like that, is like, remember the episode of The Simpsons where Principal Skinner and Miss Krabappel like got together and the students like called them in the closet like making out, and like Ralph Wiggum goes home to his dad. He's like, I saw Principal Skinner and Miss Krabappel in the closet, and they were making babies, and one of the babies popped out and it smiled at me. That's literally like the level of intelligentsia that we're dealing with when Republicans talk about anything having to do around gender issues or like identity issues or anything like that.
Reproductive health. They don't understand.
Right. We get to the point of, they have litter boxes in the schools so that kids that identify as cats can pee in the litter box. Like, what the fuck are you actually talking about, guys?
No,
come on.
And then they get Joe Rogan to repeat the dumb shit, and he's like, "Yeah, no, I heard that's happening," and they were like, "That's not happening." He's like, "Are you sure?" Like, no.
Yeah, literally fact checked on his own show.
Yeah,
like actually, no, that's not happening.
Like, no, you fucking dullard. What are you talking about? Like, again. They're doing abortions in the classrooms. This is what you believe. But these guys,
sex change operations.
I'm sorry,
not abortions. Come on.
I'm sorry. Next week, okay. Next week they'll be doing it. The next time he sits down with one of these fucking moms for liberty idiots. Yeah, no, it's amazing. It's amazing the shit they say. But again, Joe Biden needed to be run out of the race because he stumbled over his words, and he said one person's name when he meant another person's name. Whatever. Like, those things happen. Granted, I'm more than fine with the situation we're in. But he needed to be run out on a rail as the media fucking doubled and tripled down and just like practically did elder abuse on that poor man for like 2.5, 3 weeks, and examined everything he said and were like all up his ass about every little thing. But that needed to happen. This guy's like, I don't know, man. Maybe they're doing sex changes in the high schools. I don't know. And people are just like, yeah, no.
To be fair, our on the left, our standards for who represents our party is just a wee bit higher than the standards they have on the right.
Okay, that's the end of the free portion for this week's episode of Look Forward. Make sure you go to lookforwardshow.com/premium. Sign up for premium content. It's only $5 a month or $50 for the full year.